This timer over here is how long I have to come up with a new study plan. Research shows that having a specific time to accomplish a task helps with procrastination, and I am of course the queen of procrastination. So thinking right now, there's a lot of different things I could put on my study plan, but the overall theme for me this year is overcoming fear of failure, finally doing the hard things. So I'm thinking through the things I've always wanted to do, but have just been too scared to. I will share in a bit. Let's catch up a little bit, and I'll also like to share with you how I finally managed to get out of the rut that I've been in for the past year or so. The past year, I've been kind of having an existential crisis and traveling a lot, which in the beginning had been pretty fun. I started in San Francisco and I went to England. This was in London, Hyde Park, Germany, Munich, Singapore, Bangkok in Thailand, Beijing, Boston, South Carolina, Austin, and then back to Beijing now. But towards the end, I felt like I was kind of spiraling all over the place because I was sort of just running away from myself, if you get me. I started a bunch of different projects that I gave up on, and I gained a bunch of weight along the way and just was not in a great place. Looking back now, I think a really big reason is that somewhere along the way I lost my most important habit, which is self-studying. So after study sessions, I would also work out, and because I worked out, I would also end up eating better, and just starting the day off by being productive was just so good. It had a rippling effect in my life, a positive rippling effect. Later, I found out that this is what is called a keystone habit, which is named after the arches that you find in some architectural structures. There's that center stone, that keystone, that holds everything together. That was my study habit. It supported all the things that are good in my life. But on one of these arches, if you pull out the keystone, everything also comes crumbling down, which is exactly what happened almost a year from now in summer of 2023. Because I was traveling so erratically, I ended up not planning properly and stopped doing these study sessions. And because I stopped doing these study sessions, I stopped having that dedicated productive time, and then I also stopped working out. Therefore, I started eating like shit and just like feeling like shit because I would wake up super late and then feel like I was not productive, therefore go into a not productive cycle. So it's like, oh, I was already not productive, so I might as well not be productive for the rest of the day as well. Yeah, not great. Anyways, now I am committed that I will get my shit back together. Okay, let's go back to real time and check on the progress that I've made on researching and figuring out my study plan. Okay, I know I look like I'm folding cranes right now. Well, yes, I am folding cranes right now, which is a new hobby that I picked up, origami. But I promise that I'm also thinking about what I'm going to be studying. There are 4 things on my list. The first one is getting my driver's license because I'm 28 years old and I should really get my driver's license. Plus, if I ever want to go on road trips by myself and just do things and be more independent and not have to rely on Uber, that would be a very good idea. Here I am right now trying to figure out where's the best place, the easiest place to get my driver's license. I could just get it now in China, but the Chinese exam is notoriously difficult. It's 4 different sections, and also my Chinese is not that good. So there's 4 different sections. The first one is a written, and there's thousands of questions, literally thousands of questions. The second one is a practical, so a driving test. The third one's another written one, and then the fourth one is another driving one. I don't know why there's multiples. Yes, so I could do the Chinese one, but it's just really hard. Or I'm thinking of doing it in Canada, and Canada's okay in terms of difficulty. You first have to do the test and you get a learner's permit, and then practice and stuff, but you're not allowed to take the test until 12 months later, and then again you have to wait another 12 months in order to take another test to get your final driver's license. So that just takes a really long time. Third option is to do it in the US, which is originally where I did my driver's license test. I did it in Chicago at that time in Illinois. And let's just say that was the easiest thing I have ever done in my life. The rules are so easy in comparison. All you have to do if you're over the age of 25 is to show up, take the written test, and then after you pass the written test, you just have to do a road test. Both of these tests were really, really easy. The written test and also the road test. I literally had 8 hours of driving experience, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try to see if I can pass. And then I did. They didn't even ask me how to like parallel park or like back up or anything. So it was kind of scarily easy. But in these terms, that would sound like a great idea. However, there is one problem. I do not have a US residence. I do not have a visa. I don't have a green card. I don't have anything like that, which means if I do go and get my driver's license there, I would be considered like an undocumented person license, which would say in terms of the actual license itself. I don't know. I think that in itself is not an issue just to drive in the US, but I don't know if that could be a problem if I try to drive anywhere else or anything like that. I don't know. So that's also why I am looking into it right now. Another thing that I want to get back into is personal finance, and specifically looking into buying property and investing in property. It's something that I really wanted to do for a really long time, but obviously I have to go do some research in terms of what are my finances look like? What do I have to do? How much do I have to have? What's the down payment? What's the mortgage? Where is it good to buy a house? You know, I gotta take some courses, learn some things in order to figure that out. Third of 4 on the list is business stuff. Specifically for my current business, I have the content arm, which is things that you're seeing me talk about right now. There's also the Lonely Octopus arm, which is where I teach people AI and data skills, and they get to work on real company projects, and they get certificates, reference letters, and referrals, all those good things. I'm looking to start another product because the content that I produce is completely free, and Lonely Octopus, although I think it's very high return on investment, it's like $1,799. So that is a price point where it's not accessible to many people. So I also want to create something where people have the choice to learn things at a less supported intensive level, but also at a more affordable level. So I'm thinking about starting memberships, which is going to be like a monthly reoccurring thing where you get these fundamental courses, but every month you would also get short courses. You have your fundamental courses like prompt engineering, how to build AI products, how to use different things like RAG and fine-tuning, all those good things. Then each month you'll have short courses and live streams, as well as projects that are associated with new technologies that are coming out, things like that. Anyways, that is what I have in my brain right now. I also need to learn more about these kind of subscription-based models because I have never done this before, and I gotta, study, do some courses, learn some things in order to figure out how to do that properly. Finally, last thing on the list is screenwriting and producing because I am really focused on content this year. I love content so much. And in order to get to the next level, I think I really need to learn more about screenwriting and production and more like traditional media things. Everything I know right now is just me kind of like figuring out myself. I've never taken like a proper course or just like learn how to do things properly. So I'm really excited to learn about how professionals do screenwriting and how it is they produce TV shows and films. Ooh, looks like this Pomodoro is finishing up. I really want to talk to you about the book that really kind of shifted my mind and kickstarted this, what I call Tina V2. Okay, so I did my research and I have a plan. So what's going to happen in the next couple of months is that on the 21st of May, I'm going to go to Hong Kong for some business. And then I'm going to go to Morocco for our team meeting. Then from Morocco, I'm going to go to San Francisco for a conference. So by the time I'm in San Francisco, that's going to be around mid-June-ish. At that time, I'm going to take the test for my license in California. So it's going to be the undocumented license. But since that can take up to 6 months to process, I'm also, as a backup, going to go to Canada. And then I'm also going to take the driver's test there. So that one could take up to like 24 months to get, but it's better than not having a backup, I figured. So I'm going to do that. And if it goes well, if the US situation goes well, fingers crossed, then I can take that license and then go to Canada and switch it for a Canadian driver's license, like a proper official Canadian driver's license. That's the plan. This is how I'm going to avoid having to do the Chinese driver's license, and I can just cram everything in like 2 days because the US and Canadian driver's license test is really not that hard. that's the plan. The two other things on my study plan. So the first one I'm going to focus on is business stuff, like figuring out how to come up with another offering, figuring out how to launch that. Because now that I think about it, it doesn't actually make sense to research investments and things like that into properties if I don't have the money to even buy a property. So I should probably focus on actually making the money so that I can buy a property first. That's the first one. I'm going to do some research into other people that have launched successful membership-based products and potentially do some courses as well, but I'm going to start from there. First deliverable is I'm going to try to come up with a proper plan and decide what a good launch date is going to be. Second thing on a plan is the screenwriting and video stuff. I looked at some of the film courses that some universities are offering, but I think I'm going to just start off with Masterclass. Its subscription base is pretty cheap, and it looks like there's a good amount of content and variety on there to get started with. So I'm going to start off with that and potentially pay for a course later. Study times are going to be Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday for 2 hours each on those days. So that's going to be 6 hours of dedicated self-study time. All right, yes, let's do it. I want to tell you guys about the book 10x is easier than 2x, which is the push that I needed to reevaluate my life, restart these study habits, and then to set my new goals. Even though this is a business book, a large part of it is psychological as well because I have an extreme fear of failure. The book begins with the story of Michelangelo, you know, the sculptor, the painter, Sistine Chapel. At 17 years old, he decided to become an artist, a sculptor, and this was of course very much against the wishes of his father, who wanted him to be a businessman. But he insisted on this and he wanted to do a sculpture of Hercules. At that time, while he was trying to do Hercules, he realized that he just couldn't really do something that is remarkable because he doesn't have a good understanding of anatomy, which as a sculptor he believed was necessary in order to confidently outline the muscles underneath the skin properly. So this was a journey of 10xing his current skill set. And in order to do that, he became a grave robber in order to study anatomy. This was of course very illegal, but he was like, okay, I really gotta improve myself to get to this point. So then he robbed a bunch of graves over the span of 6 to 8 months in order to dissect them and get a really good understanding of anatomy. And that's how he was able to do Hercules. Then throughout his entire career, he kept on doing these moves, like these insane moves of going all in, just trying so much harder than everybody else, and then 10xing his skill set repeatedly, culminating in his masterpiece of David, from the myth David and Goliath. He was a representation of someone who truly tackled the impossible at every step, went all in, and was successful in doing that. For Michelangelo, we learned that what got you here won't get you there. You need to keep improving yourself to get to the next level. By the way, if you see these little smudges around this area, that is because I am left-handed, so you also see the smudges on my hands. This is something that has been a problem for my entire life, so I apologize. Anyways, the thesis of the book is that impossible goals are easier because there's only a few paths there. So that's why 10x is easier than 2x. A 10x goal, a ridiculous goal, is easier than a 2x goal, which is an incremental goal. And that is because you have a ridiculous goal. You need to do something drastic in order to get to that point. For example, if you're Michelangelo, that is to go rob graves instead of just like trying to learn a little bit more about anatomy, trying to like experiment with different techniques or something like that. Anyways, most people are at the 2x goal, so 2x versus the 10x. And they would try to study more, they try to research more, try to get better equipment, just like incrementally get better, which is actually harder than just going 10x because there's like a lot of different choices you can be doing in order to incrementally increase. And then with each incremental change, it's actually harder and harder because everybody is on this 2x path mostly. But on the 10x path, in order to get to that goal, you can't get away with just incrementally increasing. You have to do something really drastic. So this is my ridiculous 10x goal, all right? I'm like kind of scared to even say it right now. I am averaging around like 80 to 100k views per video. And my 10x goal is to get to 1 million views per video, which sounds crazy, but if I achieve that, actually language, when I achieve that, I would feel so accomplished. So then I listed down like things that in my case, what I need to do. things that don't work, and then the things that would work, because I can't just keep doing the things I'm currently doing incrementally in order to get to that goal, right? So things that don't work is what I'm doing right now. For example, I've been trying to incrementally get better at storytelling, doing a little bit more research, trying to learn a little bit more about editing and sounds and things like that. And that's just like not going to cut it in order to get to there. So 10x things that I need to experiment with different formats of videos, which is what I'm trying to do right now. I also need to have more thought into each video, and I need to have more time that I put into a video. So the question you might have for me is like, hey Tina, like you clearly know what it is that you need to do. Why aren't you doing it? And that is because I have an extreme fear of failure. I need to stop hedging myself because I'm scared of failure. I like to hedge myself a lot. I'm like, oh, like in case this doesn't work, I'll feel really sad. So let me like work with a bunch of other things in order to like make myself feel better in case something doesn't work out. So I keep doing that over and over again because I'm so scared of going all in and then still failing. But first, let's talk about how to 10x. There's the 80-20 rule, which says that 80% of results come from 20% of the work. This is also called the Pareto principle. Indeed, 2x to 10x mindset. The idea is that you have your, full spectrum of things that you currently have. In a 2x mindset, you're focusing 80% on the existing things that are currently there, while only focusing 20% on the new things that are there, and you're experimenting with these to get incrementally better. But you need to get to the 10x mindset where you're only focusing on the most important 20% to maintain these things and spend the majority of your energy on trying new things, of really putting yourself out there and experimenting. So in my case, what do I need to do? In the book, they say we divide this into continuous, eliminate, and addition. I think I spelled continuous wrong. I don't know. Is that wrong or not? I'm not very good at spelling. Anyways, so on the continuous front, I need to maintain and empower my team. This is something I'm doing right now, which is very good. I should keep doing that. I should keep meeting new inspiring people. Every time I go to an event where I meet someone new, I just always get so much out of it. So I need to continue doing this and actually doing more of this. And then finally, I need to not give up. Except for a hiatus I took for around 2 months or so, I really have been making videos over the span of 3.5 years now. And that's something I'm really proud of. The next part is listing out the things to eliminate. This is the big epiphany moment for me, realizing I need to eliminate a lot of things in order to focus on the things that matter. First one for me is side quests. I do a lot of side quests because I keep hedging myself by doing other things because I'm so scared of going all in and experiencing failure. So yes, I need to eliminate my side quests. I need to not do random projects that show up, not grasp different opportunities that I don't actually want to do, and focus on what actually matters. The second thing is intervening with other things. I think this is also like kind of a hedging thing. I need to like fully trust my team. I definitely trust my team, but I still intervene once in a while. And I need to just be like, okay, that is covered. Stop distracting yourself with other things. I'll actually talk more about elimination a little bit later because it's just like so important. I think it's probably really important to a lot of you guys as well. And then the third one is addition. So what do I need to do now that I eliminate a lot of these things and now I have more time? Well, firstly, I need to experiment with one new video type a month. This is a goal of mine. This is the one new video type of this month, something that is completely different, and maybe it will get me to that next level. The next part is to spend more time on thumbnails. I'm not very good at Photoshop. I'm not very good at thumbnails. I don't really spend a lot of time on them, even though I know it's really, really important. And potentially also thinking about outsourcing this entirely so that I can focus on the different video types themselves. Now, going back to that psychological perspective, where I'm like, holy shit, how can I possibly get to 1 million views per video? That's just like I just don't have that skill set. There's no way I can do that. So like that failure mindset I already have is just inconceivable. An exercise from that book, which I thought was amazing, is to actually look back in your past to show yourself that you have actually done this before. You have actually made a lot of 10x moves in your life. Like for me, I think back, I started in pharmacology. I have a pharmacology degree, which is the study of drugs, completely irrelevant. And then I was able to 10x myself and learn things in order to get a computer science master's degree. Again, something that was like completely out of my realm. Like I didn't even have the math prerequisites, but I managed. And then again, like I 10x'd again when I went to Goldman Sachs to do software engineering. I only had like a year of a master's degree where I learned the fundamentals, but I practiced really hard and then I was able to get into Goldman Sachs. Like that's a 10x move. The next 10x move is I got into Meta as a data scientist. One of my first videos was talking about how I spent 11 days in order to learn SQL, an important skill set for data scientists. I knew zero SQL at the beginning of those 11 days. But I focused myself, went on Glassdoor, scraped every single question, ranked them in terms of importance, and made sure to learn everything I needed to pass that interview. And I passed that interview. That's insane. If you think about it, 11 days. And I managed to get that job. Like, that is definitely a 10x move. The next 10x move is when I started my YouTube channel. I never thought I would even get to like 10,000 subscribers. Not like, and definitely not 100,000 subscribers, but now we're sitting at 650,000 subscribers. 10x move, crazy. Next move, Lonely Octopus, where I designed this entire program where we teach people AI and data skills and help them work on real company projects. Like, I had no idea how to run a program like that. I had to like figure out, okay, here's the courses that we need to make. And we built an entire custom Discord community, like a custom Discord bot. I reached out to lots of different companies in order to get and scope out these projects. It was just like completely out of my scope. Marketing, like I had no idea how to do marketing. How do you building a website for a product? Damn, like 10x move there. So like putting it into this context, is it really that ridiculous to say that I can't get to 1 million views per video? And that really helped me because from a logical perspective, why not, right? Why not? I really encourage you guys to also do this exercise and just to realize like the goal that you're aiming for isn't as ridiculous as it may seem, because some point in your life previously, you would have never imagined where you are right now. But you're here right now. Now, okay, so going back to elimination, the author introduces the paradigm of Kronos versus Kairos. The Greeks have two different words in description of time. The first one is Kronos, the time of clocks, the sequential time of the seconds passing, the minutes passing, the calendar days passing, the years passing. We all experience Kronos time. Then there's Kairos times, what they describe as the time of gods. This is when time seems like it's standing still. You're completely engrossed in that moment. There is no sense of past time, present, and the future. This is the experience of seeing a beautiful sunset, of sharing a sincere laughter with a friend, of a sudden bolt of inspiration that completely changes the trajectory of your business or your life. The more you experience in a given amount of time, the slower time feels. That's why when you're in Kairos time, something that truly matters, time feels so much slower. That's also why when you're like a little kid, you spend a lot more time in Kairos time and everything just feels slower because everything is so new and fresh and exciting. But as you get older, you start kind of not really perceiving the things around you anymore because it's become common, it's become mundane. You experience a whole day passing so quickly because nothing particularly interesting happened during that time. And that is the experience of Kronos time that is flying by. What you want is to experience more of Kairos time, time that really matters. So how to do that? A lot of entrepreneurs, me included, like to fill up our days because it gives us a sense of progress. We're like, oh, we're working so hard, so like, we must be able to get these results. But really, you can actually be less busy and experience more progress. This framework splits your days into 3 different types of days: free days, performance days, and buffer days. This is based on theater actors. Theater actors would only spend a few hours in like weeks to perform and to showcase what they're doing. Most of the time it's spent practicing, honing their craft, and resting. So as an entrepreneur, we can also divide our days into 3 different types of days: free days, performance days, and buffer days. The book suggests 180 days of free days. These are days that you're focused on recovery. A great example is the schedule of an elite athlete. There's this interview that they did with LeBron James and his recovery coach and his trainer. The amount of time proportionally that LeBron spends on court is not that much time. Most of the time is actually spent on practicing, honing his skills, and recovery days in order to keep himself fresh and not get injuries. As entrepreneurs, we may not be doing these physical tasks, but we're using our brains, which is a similar paradigm. That's why the book has a framework of dividing your days into free days, performance days, and buffer days. During your free days, this is up to 180 days where you're focused on recovery. You're focused on thinking about your business from a more objective point of view, not being involved in the hustle and bustle. This is also when a lot of the entrepreneurs get their best ideas. Like for example, when Newton was just sitting underneath a tree and an apple fell on his head, he was like, eureka, and then gravity. And then there is performance days. So there's no point just thinking about stuff. You obviously also have to execute. This is where we're measuring ourselves on the results. This would represent around 90 days of a year. If we got to take meetings during those times, try to stack those meetings as well, because meetings can really distract you from deep work as an individual. Finally, there are buffer days. And these are days in which you're organizing and you're planning what it is that you're performing, what it is that you are spending your free days on. And this is also when you're working with your team in order to figure out what they should be doing as well. And this would represent 90 days of your year. So I don't know if I can really get to like 180 free days, but I think that is definitely a good goal to work on. And definitely this paradigm, like I kind of follow into this paradigm where I just feel like I'm measuring myself in terms of my busyness and my productivity as opposed to the actual amount of progress that I'm making. All right, so that is the end of my little presentation. It looks like I'm also starting to get distracted by the outside, and it looks like I'm ready to finish this Pomodoro. If you're interested in incorporating STEM subjects into your self-study plan, I really recommend that you check out Brilliant, the sponsor of this portion of the video. Thank you, Brilliant. Brilliant is a STEM learning platform that specializes in interactive hands-on learning. Some of you guys may not know this, but a lot of top companies actually recommend their candidates review things on Brilliant before their interviews, such as math and stats, computer science, and data science. And that's because Brilliant is just so good at learning STEM subjects. Like their entire platform is specialized for STEM subjects. If you're like me and getting back into self-studying, the courses make it easy by kind of easing you in, incorporating little quizzes, analogies, and little dopamine hits that help a lot when you ever get bored or just kind of feel stuck and discouraged. I especially love their LLM course if you're interested in Gen AI. It's such a fun overview and you don't even need to know how to code, although they do have full courses as well if you want to dive deeper. They have timeless course offerings like math and stats, programming with Python, which you all know I can't recommend learning to code enough, as well as new course offerings to explore, such as topics like Gen AI and quantum computing. You can join in millions of people already learning on Brilliant by heading over to this link over here, also linked in the description, to get started for free. If you go through my link, you'll also receive 20% off the annual membership. Thank you so much, Brilliant, for sponsoring this portion of the video. And thank you so much for watching until the end of this video. I will see you guys in the next video or live stream.